Hey guys, it's Brindley Tucker, and I am so excited. So, I am joining you from Dallas this evening. Um, I've been at a conference for Keller Williams. So, those of you that are with Keller, you know where I'm at. Those of you that might not be in our real estate world yet, I am at our annual family reunion conference. So if I sound a little hoarse today or I have to drink a little water, that's why, because I've been talking to 15,000 of my friends for the last 3 days. So I'm actually really excited. I'm doing this video and then I'm racing over to an event that our team started, I think, about 3 years ago. And it's for administrative assistants, directors of operations, anyone in a support admin position in real estate for our company. And it's a way to get them all together and show them appreciation and let them network and pour into them. So I'm really excited about that event tonight and excited to add value, because that's really what it's about, right? So when I started thinking about tonight's topic, I was like, what do I want it to be? Sometimes I know what I'm going to talk about. God brings it to me during the week, and then sometimes I don't, and I just wait for the right thing to come. And it's funny, touche, that I just said wait, because that's what tonight's about. Tonight is about learning to wait for God's timing. And a lot of people ask me, when you decided to make this big change in your life, how did you pace yourself to be patient and to wait for things to happen? Because sometimes when we make these decisions in our lives and we decide we want to do something, I'm not strong-willed at all or independent at all. And yet being an independent, strong-willed individual, I want things to happen fast and I want them to happen now. So when I make a decision to do something, it's like, okay, I want to change my life. I want it all to change within 24 hours and I want it to happen. And one of the most important lessons that I had to learn was I had to learn to wait. I had to learn to be patient. And there's certain things that I did throughout my journey of 8 years to do that. And then last year, I pick a word at the beginning of every year, and I have an exercise that I do. And as I did the exercise last year and I wrote words down, the word patient kept coming up. And it scared me. It was like that word on the paper that I was like, it can't be that word, because if it's patient, then that's going to be a tough year. And it was a tough year, yet it was a year of massive growth. So the first and number one thing that I've learned, that if we want to start mastering patience, is that we have to be willing to get uncomfortable. Because for those of us that need to master patience, we're a very impatient individual. And so I wrote down a few things tonight that I wanted to share with you about patience and about mastering patience and how I learned it. Something that I learned early on is that, God's timing is always perfect. And the reason that it's always perfect is he gets to see the big picture. He gets to see everything from beginning to end. And we only get to see the past and what's right in front of us. We don't have a crystal ball. So the more that we are congruent with God, and the more that we're in tune with ourselves, and again, in alignment with where we want to go, our intuition will guide us. Our intuition will tell us when we need to be patient. Our intuition will tell us when we need to move forward. And typically when things are right, they don't have to be forced. When things are right, we don't have to be impatient. Typically impatience comes with things that we're trying to force. And that's something that I've learned. And I remember when I first decided to change my life, and I would wake up in the mornings and I would want to jump right out of bed. And a mentor and a friend said, when you wake up in the morning, I want you to take 15 minutes and I want you to just be. I just want you to lay in bed and just be, whether you pray, whether you're in your thoughts. And so it became this mantra of just taking time to just be still, because I still don't sit still very well, yet back then I couldn't sit still for more than 2 or 3 minutes, if that. I had the patience of a gnat. So it was learning to just be. And then something else I wrote down is that when emotions overcome, patience retreats. So it's kind of like we've talked, and you'll hear me talk about, when emotion comes in, the logic goes out. It's the same thing with patience. When our emotions take over situations, patience retreats. It flies out the window. So one way to get yourself into a place of patience is by mastering your emotional intelligence. So how are you controlling your emotions in certain situations? And that will in turn allow you to handle the situation in a more patient way. In The Power of Now, which is a great book by Eckhart Tolle, he talks about just being grateful and being in the now. And he talks in that book about waiting in line. And most of us that are impatient do not like to wait in line. And I wrote down in my notes, wait, power of now. And instead of standing in a line and thinking, oh my goodness, this is like taking forever. Why is this taking forever? I have places to go. I have things to do. Sit and say, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be able to be standing in this line. I'm grateful to be here today and have the opportunity and the ability to stand in line. You get to stand in line and wait. You get to breathe the air that you're breathing while you wait, because sometimes we take for granted that everything here is a gift. Being here is a gift. Being alive is a gift. Being able to breathe is a gift. So therefore, waiting in line is really a gift because you're getting to wait in line. So that helps learning to wait by being in gratitude around the fact that you're getting the opportunity to wait. Stay busy. This is a big one for me. When I'm waiting on big decisions, or, I'm in a lot of transition. I have been for the last few months, and there's been a lot of things going around and decisions that have been made and things that I've needed to wait on. And one of the biggest things that's helped me is to stay busy. Stay busy in service, getting out and volunteering, being in service to others, building certain, pouring into other things. I've been pouring into my team a lot and pouring into our systems and just things, idle hands are a devil's playground. So just learning to stay busy, to make the time so that you're not dwelling on, so that you're not dwelling on the things that you're waiting for, because what we focus on expands. And if we continue to focus on it, then it's going to grow, and our impatience is going to grow, and we're going to feel like we're waiting forever and forever and forever, when really it hasn't been that long. It's just all we're thinking about. Excuse me, bad timing to get a tickle in your throat. Envision yourself waiting. This has been something that I've really been working on lately, is when I know that something is going to be difficult, or I know that, patience is going to be required, is I take time to close my eyes and to get in the space of observing myself doing the thing that I want to see happen. So if patience is something that I want to master, getting in a space where I quiet my mind and I quiet myself to observe myself being patient. So getting into those situations, and even if it's as simple as, let's say that I'm very impatient in traffic and it's causing a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress, picturing myself in traffic, being calm, waiting, being patient, and envisioning what that feels like and what that looks like, so that when I get into those situations, I've already envisioned and felt what it looks like to be there. And then I can just mimic that behavior and become that behavior that I've observed. Another thing that I've realized lately with patience and waiting is that sometimes we don't need to wait. Sometimes we need to set a boundary. Sometimes we need to use our voice to say, I've waited long enough, and I appreciate the opportunity to be patient and to wait, yet I'm not waiting any longer. It's time for me to move on. Sometimes this shows up a lot with bad behavior or abusive behavior, or if people aren't showing up the way that we wish they would show up, or they're not maybe showing up in the right way or a dangerous way. It's not the right time for us to master patience. It's actually time for us to master moving on. We can wait. And a lot of times what I have learned in big decisions in my life is when I make reactive decisions, I regret them. Yet when I wait, typically the situation will tell me what's supposed to happen. And so if I'm not forcing it and it doesn't happen and I wait, I find that it either happens at the perfect time when it's supposed to, and everything else aligns, and it may not make sense before that moment, but when I get to that moment, it makes sense. And then there's other times that by waiting, the situation reveals more, and I actually realize that it wasn't the right decision. And if I would have acted upon it or reacted, I would have ended up making a pretty detrimental decision. And so what I've learned is that the more waiting that I do, the more God will reveal to me the right thing. And then recognizing when I've waited long enough and it's time to move on. Because sometimes we will stay stagnant to prevent ourselves from getting into action. And so we have to be really careful. Is the patient's healthy? Is the waiting healthy? Or is it that it's time to move on and I've waited long enough? Um, some things require you to wait. And sometimes we just have to wait. I think about when you are crossing the street and you have a little white man and you're waiting for the white man that's walking, yet you keep pushing the button and the man's not coming. And really, there's nothing you can do. You have to wait for the man, because if you don't wait for the walking man and you cross the street, you can get hit by a car. And so there are going to be things like the little white walking man that you're going to have to wait for. And you're just going to have to seek guidance from your higher power, from your friends, from accountability, to just wait and just to be patient. Because a lot of good things in life are worth waiting for. And the longer we wait, the more that will be revealed and the smarter decisions that we actually make. And, I'll leave you with living in the now. There are so many stories that have happened in the last few weeks of parents that have lost their children. Husbands that have lost their wives that have lost their husbands, parents that have lost their children. And every day is a gift. And our impatience prevents us from living in the now. And so in order to truly master patience, we have to learn to live in the now. And one way that I've learned to do that is through gratitude. And being grateful, again, waiting in line and being grateful that I get to wait in line, that I get to be here with you, and I get to have the ability to master patience. I have the ability to say no to certain things and move on. I have the ability to wait because I'm alive, because I'm here and I'm getting to live this amazing life. And so this week, I challenge you to find and observe the moments in which your impatience begins to take over, and journal about those times. Write them down. What is it that's causing you at that moment to be triggered to be impatient? Is it that you want to be somewhere else? Is that maybe you're not in gratitude around where you are? And live in the now. When our egos start taking us to the future and start wondering what's out there, that's when our impatience grows and our emotions manifest themselves. So I just challenge you this week, remember that emotions make patience retreat, and to really truly master patience, just be. Tell yourself to just be. Keep busy. Journal about your impatience and what are the triggers that are causing it, and ask someone to hold you accountable to learning to wait. I love you guys. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. I've got a lot of positive feedback about these videos. I am open to your topics. If there's anything you want to ask me, talk about, private message me, reach out. My cell phone number is 727-512-9098, 727-512-9098. Brindley, Brindley at brindleytucker.com. You can also email me or private message me on Facebook or Instagram. Have a great week, guys, and work on that just be. And we'll talk to you next week. Bye.